The world is a full-on paradox. That's the conclusion I can't avoid. I'm a bit pensive now, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Just got to collect myself. About 20 minutes ago I took another cookie, and I'm at the stage in my life whereby I can't find meaning. There's no meaning to it, save for the meaning that you want to invent and project it upon it. I mean, it's beautiful, and I've got a shiver now, you see. This smartness, the incredible nature of it. We come here for this experience, and it seems we choose what sort of a world we want. This can seem very curious for lots of people, given the experiences that we have, many of which can appear to be bad, but the experiences that we have which are bad invariably just appear to be opportunities to learn. And when you look at war and death and all this sort of thing, it seems really difficult to justify the nature of the universe. The nature of the universe, it doesn't have any objection for murder and mayhem. There's certain laws that the universe has. I mean, like, for instance, apparently the speed of light and gravity and math. These sort of things seem to be a constant. There's a law there. And you would think anything that creates laws would have some sort of law for the human being. But there doesn't appear to be any law for the human being. I mean, there's laws whereby we can't fly. Whilst we are fully conscious, we can fly if we astral project, and when we dream, and you know, when we go into other metaphysical realms. But it seems to me, you see, the problem is when you study what this world is, there's just too much information. And for as many philosophers that tell you, for instance, the world is love, and ultimately that's what the universe is, there's an equal amount that tell you that the universe is indifferent about love and hate. You can see that on this planet. It leaves us to make those choices. I mean, it doesn't even leave lots of individuals the choice. It's kind of forced upon them, isn't it? If one country invades your country and you are subject to a bombardment of missiles and the influx of soldiers and all this sort of thing, it doesn't seem we have any choice in that. But it appears that we have a choice as to how we think about it. And so I did a video the other day, and I'm speaking about, you know, lots of friends and associates that I have. They're experiencing, to some degree, the dark night of the soul. And I'm experiencing that. And albeit I often proclaim that I'm in ecstasy and my life is beautiful, It's his. But there's something about the human being, i.e. the ego, the operating system, which tells you that you should be doing something. You should be achieving something. You should be working towards something. You have to generate money, you know. I don't think the universe had this money in mind for us, because if we never had this money, then that wouldn't be an option. And the options would be, am I going to plant something today? Am I going to till the soil? Am I going to pull some vegetables out of the ground? Am I going to go and forage for berries? Am I going to go hunting? Those would be the only decisions that I would have to make. And you see, those decisions are entirely dependent on how hungry I am or my family is. You see? It's kind of like, anybody hungry? Everyone's like, no, you know, I'm full. I've just had, you know, this huge casserole or whatever. Oh, okay then. So you leave it a few hours, and then maybe in, you know, 5 hours time, people start to get a bit peckish. Yeah, getting a bit hungry. Let's go and prepare some food. And so when you're looking to find purpose, if you are anything like me, I can only speak of me, can't I? I don't know what you people do. I don't know the vast majority of you. And this is, you know, one of my frustrations, because I don't know what my audience is. And so I'm just speaking to myself, really. I'm just speaking to the universe. And the universe is listening. According to the numbers on my videos, there's about 100 people listen to my videos. I know a handful of you, and so I guess I'm speaking to you, just to let you know that there's going to be some changes in my life. So I took this cookie, you know what the cookie is, right? And if you don't, I can say it, DMT, because I'm on a platform now where they don't have an aversion to people talking about things like that. One of the few platforms which are still relatively free. I'm around here now in the heart of the holiday season. The beaches are chock-a-block with punters. Everywhere it's punters. That's not my thing. And so I just go and look at it, and I stare at them, and I make certain observations, and I don't feel as if I can go amongst them, you know, when there's too many. And so I take a walk and I look, and if it's too busy I just come back home. Or like now I've come to this wood to get away from that. What is it that I have the aversion of being around the automated beings? Struggling with it, people. But you see, you can listen to gurus and they tell you that you've got to find compassion and empathy and love all your fellow man, and then you'll find this bliss. And then an equal amount will tell you that that's complete bollocks. That's just a cop-out of New Age nonsense. It's just whatever you want to project onto the world. If you are happy seeking this love, I think that the looking for this love thing stems out of weakness. It stems out of discontentment. Because if you're content with the world in the way it is, then you won't want to project onto it that it's all love. Because what you're doing then when you do that, it's like you're putting a hand over one eye and you're only seeing the world through one eye. But if you open both eyes, then you can see clearly that it's not all love. The universe is indifferent about love. It's a part of it, seemingly. Whether it's a human creation, somehow, you know, it's a byproduct of what we are. And maybe it's a necessary requirement for us to procreate. Do we need to have this love to bond us, to make us do the right thing? in certain scenarios, to keep us close in clans, so we've got a better level of survival, you see. Because if we felt indifferent about everybody, like I do now, then you wouldn't want to be with anybody. And I'm telling you now that if I never had money in the bank and I needed to survive, I'd rather go out there and make it alone. I'd learn how to make bow and arrows and traps and all that sort of stuff. I just wouldn't want to be in the vicinity of other people, listening to their nonsense. And so what I'm concluding is that this world is a facility for you to make of it what you will. Now, I've been sidetracked, like many of you, because we've been led to believe that there are answers. But there aren't no answers. There are answers. There's a billion answers. But they're also vastly contradictory. You can have one of the greatest scientists, and they'll look at the world that way. Then you can have one of the greatest spiritualists, and they will look at the world that way. Then you can have a tyrant who is intent on conquering and murdering, and they'll look at the world that way. You see, we've got this freedom of looking at the world however we want to. And so, prior to taking this DMT, the last time I took it, it left me a bit out of sorts. And it was kind of like, is that it now? Can it show me any more? You see, how it happens with me, with astral projection, I set out to discern and to discover the reality of what I'd heard. And I had a marvellous out-of-body experience where I was fully compos mentis. I was there, I was present, and I was looking around and I was thinking, what can I take back with me? Is there anything I can take back? And I was looking for things and I was making a note. I was being analytical. I was having fellatio at the time, can you believe it? And although everything was great, I was still intent on finding truth. Instead of enjoying the moment, I wanted to find the truth. And so, since I had that experience, I couldn't get back there again. But you see, what I said to myself originally was that I want to discover, I want to have this full-blown out-of-body experience. That is all I requested. And as soon as I got that, then the desire, the inclination, the facility, everything about it, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't lie like a piece of wood for an hour or 2 hours. I just couldn't do it. Whereas before, I could. And so then with my meditation, had some brilliant experiences which have told me, shown me the nature of the universe. And then haven't had them since. DMT, it was only just up this path where I had that massive love thing going on. And now what it seems to be, what the DMT seems to be telling me, or my higher self is telling me, or the universe is telling me, it's kind of like, you've got the message, so hang up the phone. DMT doesn't have anything more to show you, Aaron, because when I take it, you know, I'll take like up to 100 mil. And when you take like 100 mil, when you draw it in, it hits you so hard. And people go, oh, you've got to take the 4th toke. I've never managed to get past 1.5 tokes. Simply because when I draw it, I mean it. I've got a large capacity of lung, and I take it in. When I've seen other people that go, oh, full tank, you've barely took it in half a litre. You know, and so you can't listen to what anybody says. You just go by your own experience. And my experience tells me that it doesn't matter really how much I pile it up. There's only a certain amount that you can take in before you're you're incapacitated. There's a feeling that comes over you, and it's a vibration, and I had like a buzzing, and there's an intensity to it, and you physically, even if you wanted to, you lose focus on the pipe, and you can't direct the lighter because you're not there anymore. And so this time, it was very mediocre. Even though I took more, I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to take more. See if it's got anything else to show me. And I took 1.5 times more than I normally take. But I didn't enjoy it. And instinctively, it told me that, hang up the phone now. But I don't know, and this is why I'm saying the world is so ambiguous, because I've lost a certain heart with this place due to the influx of people, and of course I've got to be out of my apartment in about 2 weeks' time. I've got no idea in this world where I'm going to go, and so I carry the weight of that increasingly. There's a part of me that's trying to say, just go with the flow, just go with the flow. Well, what fucking flow? I don't even know. I can't even find the energy to book a bus or a train or a plane. I've got no idea where I'm going to go, where I'm going to stay, what I want to do. It's left me. And this is what I'm talking about, in the abyss. And although I'm here and I'm in this ecstasy, sure, I'm in the ecstasy, I'm in this beautiful bliss, and as far as the world's concerned, I'm in the abyss, having nothing to do with it really. But when the matrix starts to call you, you can't avoid that. You're going to need to eat, you're going to need shelter, you're going to need to have funds to take you here and there. And so I don't know what to make of it. And the more I listen to people, the more conflicting the information is. People that held in real high regard throughout the ages say this, but then the similar variety of people say that, and it's the polar opposite. So what I've concluded is that my world is my world, and I have to make of my world what I will. I can't depend on anybody else's truth. And this is what I've said to you all along, people. The only thing that is real in this world, and that doesn't have any reality to it, but it's the closest you're going to get, is your subjective experience. And so, what can I make now of my subjective experience in view of all the wisdom in the world? Some of which I've been privy to. It hasn't took me anywhere. It hasn't got me anywhere. It's not given me nothing. All it's done is brought about a level of confusion, because there's a portion of me that's dependent on other people. And so, if I've learnt anything, and I think I have, I feel like I've really learnt something today, again, when I really needed to learn something, it's that I have to be completely dependent on my truth. Lots of people have levelled at me in the past about my ego. Your ego's so big, your ego's this and your ego's that. And I've always said I'm very happy with my ego. If you've got a problem with it, that's your problem. You know, what am I going to do? Live your problems? Am I going to live anybody's problems? If they say you're too this or you're too that, am I going to mould myself into something that appeases them? Where does it end? It doesn't, does it? So that doesn't make sense. We're going to meet 1 million people in our lives. We can't please them all. So, please yourself. And if then, by being yourself, people respect that and can find a unity with you because you are an authentic person, then that's as good as it gets. These people that just fake being nice, the internet's full of them, fake as fuck they are, and I can't stand them. that make me sick to my stomach? Why do they have this variety of effect upon me? I don't know. It's difficult to discern. It's the fakeness, you see. The world is fake as fuck, as it is, without people making it even more fake, you see. So what is it that I want? I want a certain reality. I want people to be as real as they possibly can, in all of their facets. Just be real. And so I was listening to somebody who was speaking about Gurdjieff, this philosopher of about 100 years ago. And he was saying that this fake love bullshit is just a fantasy. It's just a crock of fucking shit. And I've said this all along. I've always wanted to call everybody out on their bullshit. It's all love, it's all love. I'm like, okay, let me come round your house and live with you for a week and see if I can fucking make you see the non-reality in that. I'm pretty sure I can. You know, if I kick your cat, if I sleep with your wife or beat up your husband or whatever, I think I'm gonna change the 100% loveness that you've got going down. And then you'd be asking me to leave very, very quickly. And I was saying, well, hang on, isn't it all love? Yeah, you see. How can it work? How can it be all love? It can't be all love. It's nonsense. And so the whole world is given to 7.5 billion fantasies. And some people have jumped on a particular fantasy because it suits them, you see. And this is the whole thing with the New Age. Because I think the vast majority of these New Agers, they're scared people, they're weak people, they're stupid people for sure. And so they start to follow. Why is it that people need to follow? Why is it that people need to join institutions or organisations? Why do they need somebody next to them? Because they can't think for themselves. They're too scared to think for themselves. They're too scared to do anything for themselves. That's why they always need somebody to hold their hand. On the contrary, is me. I'm not scared to do anything on my own. I do everything on my own. I've never had a trip sitter in my life. And I've had like 100 trips in psychedelics. I don't want anybody around me holding my hand. Oh, just in case. Just in case what? Can you change what's going on inside here over the next so many hours? No, you can't. Oh, they can hold you. They can say everything's all right. I can do that myself. Goodness me. Weakness. Stupidity. When you look for intelligence and strength, they're very, very rare commodities. And that's what I want to be mixing with. I want to be mixing with strength. I want to be mixing with intelligence. I want to be mixing with people that have done great things on this planet. But I look around and I can't find any of those. I can see them on YouTube. I can see them on the movies. You can read about them in the news sometimes, maybe. Or so-and-so climbed Mount Everest. All this sort of thing. I think I'm going to stop making videos because I don't think there's any point for it. Where I am, nobody else is. And nobody is driven to make any comments about similar experiences because they haven't had them. You're just watching the movie, people. And so I've given you now. I've given the world 2,000 videos. I've given them whatever wisdom I've derived from my journey. And I've made certain conclusions. And barely a single one of you will take my conclusion on board. You'll be thinking, that's not right, or Aaron's not right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm right. Who's had the experience, me or you? You know, the amount of experiences that I've had, feeling like I was going to die, feeling like I have died, having crazy experiences showing me many, many different facets of what it is to be a human being. Being privy to the thinking of many of the brilliant people that have walked this planet. And so via my own experience now, I've made certain conclusions, and I've been banging on about it for a long time. I've been saying there's no point in keep searching for information and answers out there, because they're not out there, people. They can't possibly be out there, because everything happens in here. None of this is happening out there. And if you don't think that's true, then you're not learned enough, because all of the great thinkers in the philosophical and the spiritual realm will tell you that ain't out there, people. Even the scientists, they'll tell you it's all going on in here. And so, well, why do you have objection with that? Because you're afraid. You're scared. You can't bear to think that there's nothing except you. You see? But that's it, that's the fact. There is nothing but you. Sure, we can say that, oh, we've got friends and we've got family around us. They're all part of your illusion. We're all having an illusion. It's a very, very perplexing thing. But there's one consciousness, isn't there, people? We just think we are separate consciousness. But we're sharing this one thing that we haven't got a single clue what it is. We can look with telescopes and we can send space modules out and we can take samples from other planets and we can go, aha, this is this and that's that. And even the scientists that can speculate how this universe began 13.5 billion years ago. But they can't say a single thing about how we think. They can look at the brain, oh, we see electricity going on in there. Well, how does electricity and this like fatty matter enable us to contemplate the nature of the universe? Don't know. Let me look a little bit further, see if I can look further down. Doesn't matter how far down you're going to look, Mr. Scientist. You ain't never going to find it. And it's quite obnoxious. Ridiculous to think that we could know the nature of the universe. Look at the size of it. Look at how diminutive we are on this earth. It's preposterous. It's just because we're insecure. But you see what the greats say, once you lose the fear of death, because there is no death, then none of it matters anymore. What about this and what about that and what's this and what's that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's no matter. There's just an experience going on. And so just experience it. And walk around this world making of it what you will, without lending yourself to thinking, so-and-so says it's like this, or I'm going to believe so-and-so because he was very respected. I'm going to believe Plato or Aristotle or Socrates. Don't believe anybody. Don't believe. Know. Know the best you can via your own subjective experience. Your eyes will see different things to other people. Your body will feel different things to other people. Your brain will decipher information different to other people. Every single one of our brains deciphers things in its own unique way. We can get some sort of similarity in general, but the fact of it is, left to our own devices, we're going to see this world. Mosquitoes are out today, even in the broad fucking sunlight. Yeah. And so by conclusion then, it seems that DMT has run its course for me, at least for now. And I don't know whether it just accentuated how I'm feeling, you see. I think there's a lot to do with psychedelics. They accentuate how you're feeling at any given time. Like a couple of weeks ago when I had that loved one, wow, I was all loved up because like every time I took DMT it showed me the beautiful world, and I had a special feeling and connection. I'm losing that now. I'm losing that to a degree. Because there's no real newness to this. I need more stimulation. And you see, that's what's driven me all around the world. A constant source of stimulation. It's like I've come here on a reconnaissance mission. That's my job. I've come here to observe, to take note, and then to take this information back. And so I'm going to be going somewhere else. And I've no idea where I'm going to be going. I've got no idea what I'm going to be doing. I don't even know whether I'm capable of doing anything, or whether I'll just end up in the doorway. Satiated, satisfied with my lot, because it won't matter. It really won't matter. Sure, it's nice to live in a big mansion by a lake and you've got all these woods and everything like that, but I always make of my life the best I possibly can. And when I've been down and out and I've had nowhere to live and I've had no money, I've always had this internal contentment going on. And so I know I've got that, and that is an enormous power. People should be talking about that as the power to be reckoned with in this universe. Because when you can have this level of contentment, and when you don't have a fear about what your lot's going to be, because you're in touch with something greater, and although this can be amazing, it is amazing, you realise that, oh, hang on, if I'm just spirit and there's all these billions of galaxies out there, there's supposed to be trillions of galaxies. Trillions! And so, if we go amongst those forever and ever and ever, then why should we be bothered about what really goes on here? You see, we've been caught up in an illusion, people, and due to being caught up in the illusion, lots of us take it far too seriously, and we get all frustrated, jeepers creepers, and we get all afraid, and we get all insecure. But if you really want to capitalise on this life, then you have to let those things go. You have to let the insecurity and the fear and the frustration and all this stuff go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with my instinct now, because that seems to me the most dependable thing. And so I'm going to go wherever my instinct eventually tells me to go. Invariably, how it works is that it leaves it right to the last minute, right till the 11th hour, almost at the 12th hour. Then I don't know, whether I'm just kind of forced to start walking in a certain direction. You see, about a year ago, about this time last year, I was at the same situation. And I couldn't make up my mind, and I was looking on the internet until I was really getting frustrated with it, and in the end I went, fuck it. I'm just going to let my intuition lead me. I'm not going to bother. I don't give a fuck. I've kept in the bushes and in fields and anywhere. I've kept all over the world in the most obscurest of places. I'm not afraid of that. And so, okay, so I'll be out of my comfort zone because I like a little bit of luxury, but I'm not going to be afraid of it. And so, on this occasion, that morning, I just got up with my bag and I walked to the bus station, and I says, what's the nearest bus? leaving here, and it was going to this other town about 50 miles away. And I said, okay. So I got on that bus, and then I got to the bus station, and I went outside to a taxi driver and I said, take me to a hostel or to a small hotel or something like that. Took me to a few places, they were full. I roamed around for a few hours until eventually I found somewhere. I stayed there for 10 days, had a bit of a stay of execution. Then when the 10 days was up and there's no more availability in this hotel, I did that again. And that's what my life has been like this past 2 years. And it's been beautiful. It's been amazing. And so why should I be afraid of that? You see? If you're not afraid, then what's the big deal? Nothing to lose. You're just going to be continuing to experience. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And so, although I felt like I was a little bit disappointed with the experience I had today at the MT, again, I seem to have derived something very, very valuable out of it. And I feel better now. I don't feel so sedated, so lethargic, kind of like not knowing. I still don't know, but I don't care that I don't know, you know? And so, I'll just see what happens. But as I've said, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be continuing to do these videos. You know, I can upset people very often by being myself. I'm not going to change being myself. I'm never going to change being myself. And if I want to rant and cuss and make people feel intimidated or get their back up in some shape or form, then as far as I'm concerned, that's an opportunity for you who are feeling these things to learn something about yourself. Instead of projecting onto me, Aaron's this and Aaron's that, I'm just being me. Why don't you just be you? You see? And when you are affected by something, somebody, look at yourself as to why that is. It's an opportunity to learn about yourself, isn't it? Instead of all the time thinking about it's all these other people. They're all idiots, they're all nasty, they're all this and they're all that. Just be people. And that's what I do. I depict myself on any given day. I show you what I am. What you see is what you get. There's no contrivance. I'm not trying to please anybody. I'm not trying to instill anything within anybody. I'm not trying to give you an impression about me. I'm just showing you what I am. And I'm telling you how my mind works. And maybe you can derive something from that which is of use to you. That's what's going on here, people. Anyway, just in case you don't see me forever, I don't know.